Good evening, everyone. Sir, I am audible? Okay, thank you, sir. So, thank you so much for providing me opportunity to be a resource person and have a talk on the burning topic, that is the role of microbiology as well as biotechnology in sustaining agriculture. So, before I start, I must say that agriculture is our backbone. Our income, economy, all depends upon agriculture. So, if we conserve the agriculture by applying various technology, we can save our future. Because what is happening these days, like belonging from Himachal Pradesh, I just want to tell you how the disaster affect the environment in HP. Himachal Pradesh is known as the land of gods. It is famous for its greenery, its nature, but nowadays, in last week only, the latest photographs I am sharing with you, the cloudburst incidents, the landslides deteriorate our beauty, our nature, our environment. You can see the glimpse. So, as we know that as we are moving toward the modernization and industrialization, we are cutting our forests, we are playing with nature. So, now what is happening? Nature is playing with us, and result is in front of you. So, I must say that conserving the nature is not the duty of any agency nor any government, but as an individual, we all must have courage to develop at least one habit to conserve our nature so that our future generation need not to purchase air or water for their survival, because the way we are deteriorating our nature, the day will not be so far that our future generation need to be forced for buying all these basic needs, and due to the lack of these needs they will lose their life. So these are just the glimpse how nature affect our beautiful state. So now coming toward our topic, that is the role of microbiology in sustaining agriculture. So before I start, I must say that microbiology, it is the study of microorganisms, the organisms which we can't see from naked eye. And but they are too small. We need microscope in order to visualize them. But their role is very high, so we can see that I can use the quote of Louis Pasteur, who is known as father of microbiology, that the rule of infinite small is infinitely large. Microbes are infinitely small, but their role is infinitely large. So I will not take up in detail, but I must say that conserving our nature, don't consider it just a general talk, but it will be successful only when all of us will develop only a single habit in order to conserve our nature. It's not only we need some setup of laboratories or other technology, it is inside us. If we develop a single habit of conserving our nature, we can contribute for our environment, for our future. So, starting with, as we know that deteriorating human and ecosystem health, it is a characteristic feature of unsustainable development. Population of birds, mammals, fishes, all are decreasing, and they declined by 60% in just 40 years. So, if we talk about the sustainable agriculture, we know that it was Ernst Haeckel in the year 1866 who described the economy of living forms. And sustaining agriculture means we are satisfying human food as well as their fiber needs. Enhance our quality of environment and natural resources, make the wise use or efficient use of non-renewable resources, because the time will come when they will deteriorate very soon and will affect our system. So, if I talk about the three pillars for the sustainable development, you can see that first, we have to be very wise in using our natural resources. Secondly, we can maintain high and stable level of economic growth as well as employment. And the third one, that is the social equality. Social progress recognizes the needs of everyone. So, whenever we are talking about agriculture or sustainable agriculture, we can't complete our topic without using the soil. Although I don't know how much all people belong to which field, but all know that how the soil, it is the biggest ecosystem on the earth, and it is the microorganisms which makes the soil fertile by adding various kind of nutrients into it. So, not going into the detail, but I can specify that if I talk about microorganisms, it is fungi and bacteria, which involves chemical exchange between roots and soil, and they act as a reservoir of nutrients, because we are depending upon the soil for our food requirement, and microbes, they are providing nutrients into the soil, making them fertile, because of which the growth of nutrients will be enhanced. Moreover, humans, that is the anthropogenic activities, they play a very major role in this. They impact soil formation, which we also called as pedogenesis, by removing the vegetation cover, because what we are happening, what is happening around us, that for our luxuries, for our desires, we are cutting the vegetation trees around us, and in this way we are deteriorating our need in terms of our requirement. So, coming toward our topic, that how biotechnology gives solution for nitrogen problem. We know that nitrogen, it is the most abundant gas which is present in our atmosphere. That is, we know that it is, all of us know that 78% of nitrogen is available in the environment and is at number 1, but still we are not able to utilize it. Plants are not able to utilize it. So, and we know that all kind of crop productivity, they depends upon nitrogen fertilization. So, industrial production and use of nitrogenase fertilizer. Nitrogenase, as we know that, it is an enzyme. It involves significant and economic cost. So, inherent capability to use nitrogen efficiently and exploiting biological nitrogen fixation will reduce the use of synthetic fertilizer. We know that although nitrogen is present in abundant amount, but it is not in the available form, so it needs to be fixed means we need to convert atmospheric nitrogen into the usable form, that is in the form of nitrates or ammonia. We call it as nitrogen fixation. So biological nitrogen fixation, they play a major role, and again microbes are playing role in this. So the barrier of nitrogenase oxygen sensitivity, they needs to be overcome. Now if we talk about, we are talking like to sustain agriculture, so what we need, first thing is we need to have aspects of nutrient efficiency in crops. So we know that it can be achieved through root modifications, like first of all, we can optimize root architect, we can enhance nutrient transporters, and can secrete various kinds of root exudates that are associated with our vesicular mycorrhiza. I'm not going in detail, but as the name indicates, mycorrhiza. So myco stands for fungi and rhiza means roots. So it is the symbiotic association. Symbiotic means where both the partners, they are mutually benefited. That is, fungus is mutually benefited with roots, and vice versa. Roots are mutually benefited with your fungus. So these are certain kind of case studies where by using genetic engineering, by applying the technology, we enhance the availability of nutrients or the nitrogen, and in this way we are sustaining our agriculture. As from our primary classes, we used to know what is photosynthesis. Photo means light, so in the presence of light, if food is synthesized by the plants, we call it as photosynthesis. This is a traditional process. But by applying engineering, by applying technology, we can also increase not only its quantity but also the quality of the food. So, engineering the process helps to manipulate light energy into the carbon again. Therefore, obviously, our efficiency can be enhanced. So, there are different kind of strategies from where we can engineer the photosynthesis and can increase our yield. We know that the various factors which are involved in the process of photosynthesis, they are light, carbon dioxide, temperature, wind, water, and nutrients. So optimizing various steps help us to increase its productivity. Then biotechnological advances for restoring degraded land for the sustainable development. We know that we live in an agricultural, our area is covered so many parts of agricultural land, but still many of the part is unfertile, or we can call it as the Ausa land, because and sometimes we are converting our agricultural activities into, because of urbanization and industrialization, we degrade it, and in this way we are degrading our global land resources. So by applying the biotechnology, that includes using genomics, metabolomics, or proteomics, They can be exploited in a commercial level for restoring degraded lands for multi-purpose environmental benefits. So certain studies have been given where certain kind of microbes they are applied, they target various pollutants, and in this way by they causes the bioremediation. Bio means by the use of biological agents, and remedy means to clean up. So means we are cleaning up our environment, our surface, our land by use of microbes. Like in various industries, we know that various kinds of oil spills were there. So oil were leaking. So if microbes were grown there, they utilize that harmful or the toxic components as their food, and in this way they are clean up our environment. So we can say that various application of various kind of technologies for monitoring and the bioremediation of polluted soil help us to sustain our agriculture. Now, coming towards the microbes, although I have already given you a brief about microbes, so you know that microbes they contribute to nutrient availability in the soil by helping in decomposition of organic matter, humus formation, nitrogen fixation, and seed germination. They manage soil stability by different kind of biochemical processes. They degrades various kinds of pesticides and chemicals in the soils. They contribute the growth and success of plant, and in this way overall system will be controlled or monitored. So, what we use, the former method we use in our agriculture, that is the use of chemical pesticide, we know DDT. It is the one which we are using in a traditional way. That is dichloro, diphenyl, trichloroethane, and various kind of chemical fertilizers. So there are many kinds of ill effects which are caused by these fertilizers. They causes excessive soil erosion. They release various kind of chemicals to water streams, which spoils not only the water residents but the nearby farms also, and they also destroy eco-friendly insects. So we know that by the use of excessive chemicals, ultimately these chemicals they are coming into our body because we are using that food. Either we are herbivore or we are carnivore. In all the ways whatever chemicals we are using, they are deteriorating our health. So what happens in the year 1991, Hyago of the Japan, he introduced effective microorganism which contain certain kind of species of microbes that includes lactobacillus, certain kind of photosynthetic bacteria, rhodopseudomonas, palustris, and yeast, which we know that it is the backbone of any kind of industry, that is Saccharomyces cerevisiae. From this, he made a solution because of which can be used for various kind of purposes. And now, what is happening? We are shifting towards the biofertilizers rather than having chemical fertilizers. So before that, biocontrol agents are there. Again, I am talking about microbes. Microbes can be used to control various kinds of plant pests, insects which are deteriorating our crops. So there are certain kind of examples where you can see that among fungi, protozoa, or viruses. I will not take up the whole examples because it comes very specific, but in a broad way, again, you can see the scope of microbiology. Again, we are using microbes for the control of various kind of diseases. You can see that these are various kinds of insects which are affecting our plants. So by utilizing microbes, we can protect our plant from various kind of diseases. So like I have mentioned, we need to shift from chemical fertilizer towards the biofertilizers. So what are biofertilizer? We are using biological inoculants. We mix them into the soil. So these inoculants not only protects the plants but give us the very better yield, enhanced growth, enhanced available nutrients, and they are eco-friendly and thus protecting and sustaining our agriculture. So here are certain kind of examples of microbes which we can use as biofertilizers, like free living nitrogen fixing bacteria. They may be blue green algae, symbiotic form, and certain kind of mycorrhiza. So one term, it is only one line thing, but we need to think over it. We don't grow plants, we grow soil, and it is the soil which grow plants, right? So if we are providing soil with available nutrients, only then soil will be able to grow plants. So it is not actually, it is the wordings by Dr. Terry Tiga. He said that if we provide soil with so many nutrients, and it must be totally without any chemicals, we can grow plants, and growing the soil help us to grow plants. So we know that composting is there, like I said initially. What we can do in order to conserve our nature, I am not saying you go for the broad techniques either of biotechnology or of microbiology, but we all have our kitchen waste in our home. So rather than throwing it out, if we use that waste and prepare the compost from it, you can see you can contribute for the nature. And by utilizing that compost as your kitchen garden, or growing some medicinal plant even in your small space, in your gallery, in your balcony, you can contribute to your nature, because this we all can do, right? So now talking about microbes and biotechnology, so we all know that it is the bacteria who invented the biotech industry. So we know that Taq polymerase is an enzyme which is used for PCR amplification of DNA. So we all know PCR is the polymerase chain reaction. Like we need to make multiple copies of DNA, then we use the process or a machinery, we call it as PCR. So for PCR, we use the enzyme Taq polymerase. So this enzyme is isolated from bacteria, that is Thermus aquaticus. Similarly, genes can be excised from DNA using microbial enzymes. We know that restriction means to cut. So, in order to cut any desired gene, whatever we want, we use restriction enzymes, and they are again the microbial forms. Bacterial plasmids can be used to inject genes or altered genes into the host cell. We call it as transformation. So we can say that microbes are the hammer and nail of biotechnology. So providing microbes is the work of microbiology, and applying the technique is the biotechnology. So combination of all the two upcoming sciences, or the broaden applied field of sciences, can help us to sustain our agriculture. So here's the Louis Pasteur. He used to say that role of infinitely small is infinite large. So you can see that this is a national capital. This is a picture from Delhi. It is choked in thick smog. And this is not live. You can see from the other picture that the morning scene of the remote village in from Uttarakhand. This is what we want. So I can say that my lecture will be complete or it will be successful only when if all of us can develop even a single habit in order to conserve our nature. So that's all from my side. Thank you so much. No, sir, it is for the first time. Yes, sir. Thank you. Okay, thank you so much, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you, everyone.